You'd love to fuck your mom.
Yes, I would love to fuck your mom.
Right this way.
Not a fan. Come on. Wonderful presentation. You were doing great.
Thank you.
Oh! Sorry.
You stupid fucking bitch!
Diego! The gun down.
Put the gun down, dude. What do you want me to do?
Fucking gun down! Do it!
Putting down the gun!
Fuck out of my house.
This is the story of Becky's tragic life. From a young age, she faced constant loss and suffering. Her father, the only person she could rely on, was brutally murdered before her eyes by a thug named Dominic. That moment changed Becky forever. She was placed in the foster care system and moved from one home to another like an unwanted package. No matter how kind people seemed or how warm the houses looked, Becky never believed that any of it was real. Every smile and kind word felt fake to Becky. She wore a mask when she had to, pretending to be the obedient foster child, but inside her was a raging storm. She despised their rules, their false warmth, and the entire system itself. So she kept running away again and again, slipping out of those foster homes like smoke through their fingers. So where did she go? Into the woods. While other kids dreamed of city lights or grand adventures, Becky found freedom in the wilderness. There, she didn't have to face pitying eyes or fake emotions. She learned quickly how to set traps, carry a knife, and train herself to stay alert, never letting her guard down for even a moment. After witnessing her father's murder, Becky no longer trusted anyone. In the forest, every sound made her alert, and every shadow felt like a threat, and she liked it that way. To her, staying cautious meant staying alive. After a year of surviving on her own, she met an older woman named Elena, someone most people avoided because of her rough, blunt, and detached nature. That was exactly why they got along. Becky didn't need love, and Elena had none to give. They simply lived side by side, two people who had lost faith in the world and expected nothing from it. No drama, no promises, only survival and silence. For Becky, it was the first time she felt she had almost touched peace. Peace didn't pay the bills, so Becky took a job as a waitress at a local diner, even though she hated dealing with people. Every day tested her patience. Customers complained about cold coffee. Others demanded gluten-free toast, and teenagers left crumbs everywhere without tipping. She forced herself to smile because she had to, all while fighting the urge to smash a plate over someone's head. A grumpy regular once complained that his toast must have been made from imported wood from Indonesia. In her mind, Becky flipped the table and walked out laughing. But in reality, she just clenched her teeth, forced a smile, and kept working. At home, the conversations between Becky and Elena were nothing like those of a normal family. There was no small talk or cheerful chatter, only dark discussions about pain, injustice, and the violent night 2 years ago when Becky took down Dominic and his gang. Sometimes, Elena looked at her uneasily, as if realizing that Becky might be far more dangerous than she appeared. Elena once joked that Becky might be a psychopath. Becky simply shrugged, calm and unconcerned. She believed she had only done what was necessary. It wasn't madness. It was payback. To her, revenge wasn't wrong. It was justice. Then one night, the radio reported about a violent group called the Noble Men. The name sounded refined, but in truth, they were nothing more than thugs hiding behind a classy title. The police couldn't catch them, but everyone knew they were dangerous. Becky listened carefully, her eyes narrowing. Something about them felt familiar, like a warning that a storm was on its way. The next day, that storm walked straight into Becky's diner. 3 men, Anthony, DJ, and Sean, looked like trouble the moment they showed up. DJ was loud and vulgar, making crude comments toward Becky and hinting she should meet him at a hotel. Anthony, the leader, was arrogant and treated her like a servant, barking orders as if he owned the place. Sean stayed quiet but followed the others, looking uneasy. Eventually, Becky lost her patience. Dropping her fake smile, she walked over and accidentally spilled hot coffee on Anthony's thigh.
You stupid
The move was
fucking
smooth enough to
bitch.
look like an accident, but everyone knew the
Get out of
truth.
my goddamn-
Anthony's face turned red with anger, while Becky remained calm and unshaken. That evening, as the 3 men left the diner, DJ kept mocking Anthony about his burned pants. Anthony stopped smiling. His pride hurt more than his bruises, and he wasn't the kind to let Becky get away with it. The thought of revenge quickly took hold of him. That night, while Becky was resting at home, she sensed something was wrong. A strange symbol had been carved nearby, and the old lock bore a design she recognized it belonged to Dominic's crew. Becky's instincts screamed danger, but before she could react, chaos erupted. Anthony, DJ, and Sean burst in. DJ swung a bat, hitting Becky's dog, Diego, who cried out in pain and collapsed. Rage flooded through Becky, but she was outnumbered. Sean hesitated, his face uneasy, while DJ kept urging him to join the attack.
Hey!
Elena rushed in, shotgun in hand, ordering the intruders to leave. For a moment, Becky thought they had a chance, but Anthony was faster. He drew his gun and fired. Elena collapsed to the floor. Becky ran to her, screaming, but a hard blow to the head knocked her out. When she woke the next morning, the house was deathly silent. Diego was gone, and Elena was dead. Becky buried her in the forest, hiding the grave so no one would find it. It was the hardest thing she had ever done, but it reignited the fury she thought had faded, first her father, and now Elena. Everyone Becky had ever loved had been taken from her, and she swore she wouldn't let those responsible walk free. Painting her nails became a war ritual, no longer an act of beauty. She gathered her gear, sharpened her blades, and set out for revenge. Anthony had once mentioned a man named Daryl that was her only lead. Becky searched the entire town and found 2 men with that name. The first was a frail old woman, clearly not the one Becky was looking for. The second, Daryl, lived near the lake. Becky headed there immediately, unaware that Anthony and his crew were already hiding in the lakeside house. Sean, still shaken from the previous night, hesitated and wanted to talk things through, maybe even back out. Anthony mocked Sean, crushing any sign of weakness. The group went to meet Daryl, the real leader of the NM gang, always accompanied by his loyal right-hand man, Twig. Cautious and suspicious, Daryl questioned Anthony about the dog and what had happened the night before. Anthony lied, saying their car had broken down and they had only stumbled upon Diego nearby. Daryl narrowed his eyes, still unconvinced. While they argued, no one noticed Becky had slipped inside, moving through the darkness like a ghost. She watched carefully, memorizing their positions and waiting for the right moment to strike. Becky had lost everything, and now only revenge remained something she was very good at. While Becky searched Daryl's eerie hideout for clues, everything suddenly took a dark turn. She barely managed to crawl under the bed before Daryl entered, with Sean right behind him. What followed wasn't a normal conversation, it was a brutal revelation. Sean, the youngest member of the noblemen, had believed he'd joined a righteous cause. But he was wrong. Daryl pulled out an old notebook filled with names, a cruel lesson from a corrupted leader. Powerful politicians, businessmen, and wealthy donors secretly backed the noblemen, not for peace, but for chaos. Daryl made no effort to hide it. He planned to spark riots to bring down a politician named Hernandez. In his room stood a twisted statue of Hernandez, a disturbing idol that embodied his warped obsession. Sean's stomach twisted as the harsh truth hit him. He hadn't joined a noble cause, but had fallen into the hands of dangerous extremists. When he tried to resist, Daryl's cold, commanding stare silenced him. The message was clear: leaving meant death. Sean realized his freedom was gone for good. He was completely trapped. When the room was empty, Becky crawled out from under the bed. She quickly photographed each incriminating document and slipped a USB drive from the desk into her pocket. It was a treasure trove of evidence exposing the group's wealthy backers. But Becky wasn't done yet. Becky followed Daryl to his warehouse and froze at the sight: rows of rifles, crates of gas masks, and stacks of explosives piled like merchandise. This was no longer a street gang. They were preparing for war, and their target was City Hall. Meanwhile, back at the house, Daryl and his followers celebrated their so-called noble duty. A knock on the door cut through the celebration. Daryl opened it and found Becky's phone on the porch, a chilling warning. The room fell silent. DJ turned pale, Anthony panicked, and Sean froze. Under pressure, Anthony confessed they had killed Elena and taken Becky's dog. Trying to make amends, he offered to arrange a peaceful meeting to return Diego. Becky wasn't fooled. She hid in the woods, watching everything unfold. When Anthony sneaked outside, he walked straight into one of her traps, a deep pit dug with heavy machinery. He fell hard to the bottom, injured and helpless. Becky didn't kill him right away. She wanted him to suffer. She gagged and tied him up, then rigged a gun aimed at Daryl's front door, ready to fire if anyone dared to open it. Seconds later, Daryl opened the door, and the trap exploded exactly as planned. Anthony's time was up. The blast sent Sean into panic and despair. He wanted out, but Daryl never let anyone walk away. In a fit of rage, he turned on Sean and beat him until he stopped moving. Sean was dead, another victim of Daryl's violent rage. DJ froze, realizing he was trapped with no way out. Twig, Daryl's loyal enforcer, stepped outside with his weapon, hunting for Becky. But Becky struck first. She called Daryl directly, her voice calm, sharp, and completely in control. Becky revealed she had the flash drive that could destroy everything Daryl had built. Enraged, Daryl ordered Twig to kill her, but Becky struck first. Her arrow hit its mark. Daryl frantically pulled it out, trying to keep Twig alive as the wounded man struggled to move forward. Becky lured him toward the weapons bunker, ready for the final move. It was the same weapons bunker Becky had seen earlier. As soon as Daryl stepped inside, she slammed the door shut and threw in a smoke bomb. Coughing and half-blinded, he stumbled around trying to escape. Becky tried to start the lawnmower to finish him off, but the key was gone. Without hesitation, she grabbed a blade and ended it the old-fashioned way. A tranquilizer dart pierced Becky's neck, and darkness swallowed her. When she woke up, she was tied tightly with Daryl standing over her, his face full of triumph. On the table lay everything she had stolen: knives, smoke bombs, and the mysterious key connected to Dominic's past. In that moment, Becky realized Daryl wasn't just a brute. He had accidentally decoded the key. It contained coordinates leading to something far greater. Then came a shock she never saw coming. The frail old woman with the oxygen tank wasn't an outsider. She was Daryl's mother, the true mastermind behind it all. The Noble Ones organization, the riots, the money flow, and the entire web of power. Her fingerprints were everywhere. Daryl was nothing more than muscle, loud, and reckless, while she was the true mastermind behind it all. Becky refused to hand over the USB, but when Daryl threatened Diego, she hesitated. That dog was all she had left. Thinking he had won, Daryl loosened her restraints, a fatal mistake. The moment she was free, Becky struck back, spraying chemicals into his face and blinding him. Becky turned and plunged the knife into the old woman. No. Daryl's scream tore through the air, rough and broken, like the sound of a collapsing world. Consumed by rage, he chased Becky into the woods, her territory. She knew every path and led him straight into her final trap, a hidden pit lined with sharp spikes. Daryl fell in, ending his brutal reign in seconds. Yet Becky didn't find the ending she had hoped for. Instead of freedom, Becky found herself in a cold interrogation room. Across the table sat Agent Mary, a government officer who had been watching her from the start. Mary revealed that the USB Becky had risked her life for contained evidence, exposing officials secretly funding the Noble One's corrupt figures deep within the system. Becky had uncovered a massive secret, but instead of punishment, Mary made her a bold offer to join the CIA. The once rebellious girl who had lived wild in the woods was now the youngest recruit in the CIA. Her first mission, track down DJ the coward who escaped during the chaos. But Becky had another goal, uncovering the secret behind Dominic's key. She soon found DJ stranded on the roadside, his car broken down. When he looked up, she was already there, stepping out of a sleek government vehicle in full CIA gear. For a brief moment, DJ still believed he might talk his way out of it. DJ saw the bazooka in Becky's hands. She pulled the trigger, and his car erupted into a massive fireball. Becky watched the flames rise with a satisfied smile, ending the story with one final powerful explosion.